Welcome to Life After Divorce, Honest Conversation for Women podcast. I'm Fiona May. This podcast is for women navigating separation, divorce, or the rebuilding that comes after, especially if you're feeling uncertain, emotionally tied, or questioning who you are now. Divorce changes more than a relationship. It can change your confidence, your identity, and your sense of what the future holds, even when the direction was the right one. Here, we have honest, grounded conversations about what life after divorce really looks like, emotionally, practically, and personally. Some episodes are conversational between myself and my co-host, Sandra Lee. Others include inspiring women and trusted experts who understand this chapter of life deeply. This space isn't about fixing you because you're not broken. It's about support, clarity, and reminding you that you're not alone as you move forward. I'm so glad you're here. Let's jump in and start with today's episode.
We have a wonderful guest speaker on today. We're going to be we're doing a financial series within the podcast series. And this one is on the biggest financial mistakes that women make after separation and divorce. And ladies, this is a podcast that you can't afford not to hear and not to listen to. Really listen to and consider, all the things that we're going to be covering off on. And we've got the amazing Manisha here. She's both a CPA, which is a practicing qualified accountant and tax accountant, as well as a financial planner. So welcome, Manisha.
Thank you. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. We've seen some doozies over the years, Manisha. We've
So ever.
And I'm sure you have because you've also been through separation and divorce like us. We want to give you some tips. So, what would your biggest financial mistakes during divorce that you see women making that we want to make them aware of?
Fantastic. So a couple of things. This is at the back of observation and clients that I've had the privilege to advise over the years. And a couple of things which keep coming up around your budget. Especially before separation and divorce, all the finances are joint. You may probably not have control over your expenses because you've got two incomes coming in the household. And suddenly, post divorce, now you have to start thinking about living on single income. So that transition and that shift is very shocking experience for some of the clients, especially the female clients. So the first thing I always say to my female clients is being very clear on your cash flow requirements, not only now, but also for the future. Why? Because if women or even generally people are looking at retiring at age 65, women's life expectancy is around 85 years. So we have 20 years of our lifespan where we need to find enough money to live off on. And this is where, again, going into the future, projecting what your financial needs are, and then bringing it back to the present moment and working out the strategies of what do they need today as a starting position when they're navigating through that separation that's going to help them sustain through that entire lifespan. So as I touched base previously on the previous episode was it takes a female almost 7 years to recover post-divorce financially. So you're already starting off in a back foot and pretty much getting really clear on your cash flow goals and not underestimate. A lot of women make the mistake of underestimating what their cash flow requirements are. So that's the number one thing I come across quite a lot.
I think too, us not just budgeting for now, but also that long-term forecasting. How long does this money have to last me? Am I 60? It's got to last me 40 years. Am I 50? It's got to last. We don't know what that number is. And, they talk about life expectancy now going to 120 for our age. And, now this is a scary bit. Do you have enough money, ladies, to live into your 80, to live into your 100, to live until you maybe 120 and living a lifestyle that you want and be able to have holidays or be able to spend time with your kids. So that's another projection that we need to be looking at as well.
One of the ones that we need to be aware of, ladies, is that when the pension scheme was originally created, it was created because people used to retire at 50 and life expectancy was 55. So when the pension was first created, it was meant to allow people to survive on a payment for 5 years. And those people had worked and paid taxes. Now, the Australian government and the system that they've got in place at the moment, I am very fearful if you are relying on getting a pension right through to your 70, 80, 90 years old. And if that's what you're going to be relying on, I really want to encourage you to have a think about now what you can do to start building your own superannuation, because I just don't think as a country we're going to be able to afford to substantiate so many people being on a pension, and especially these days where a lot of people are not working and haven't contributed to the tax. These are things that we need to take notice of, and we also need to take notice of when we do get our settlements, not to waste them, because we see lots of ladies wasting their settlements.
Yep, they think they've come into this big windfall, but it's really hard to earn it again, ladies. It's not something that you can't do, and it's not something that you can't acquire. But if you do have one lady, I'll give an example of, she had 550,000. That was her cash out of the settlement. Now, she didn't have a property. She didn't have anywhere to live. She was renting, but she just decided that she had this little soothing habit of gambling, and she wanted to go on a lot of holidays, and she took her
All the
four
kids.
adult kids on holidays with their part. One of them had a partner. She paid for them all to go over to Europe. They came back. She went on a cruise. They came back. And now when we were speaking to her, she had $30,000 left out of this $550,000. And it was just
Wow.
for an 18-month period. It can go really quick, ladies. And
Yeah.
for you to safely earn $550,000 again, that's savings off your income. So it's about what are you going to be doing now to protect what you do have, also add to what you have, and look at how you can go forward and really
Yeah.
focus on really building that in a safe way as well.
We recommend our clients to Manisha because she has a beautiful heart and she understands women. She's been through this journey herself. And so, Manisha, you work out this with the ladies and give them
Yeah.
some stability, don't you?
Absolutely. And Fiona, over the years, what I've come to also realize, because there's a huge gap between women's financial literacy compared to men, because generally the male is the main primary income earner and the wife or the female is the nurturer, the carer. So to bridge that gap, especially when it comes post separation and they land with all this money, there's this fear. That's what I've come across. So for me to help them move past across that fear, to say, don't leave everything cash at bank because inflation will eventually eat it away. So this is where that whole education comes around: diversification, investing, understanding what compounding impact is. That's how you sustainably grow and build your wealth. So for me, my approach when it comes to educating women and helping them make the sound decisions is there's never a silly question. And I will explain everything step by step. And I use a lot of analogies in my process because my ultimate end game is to make sure they walk away so empowered and feeling confident that, okay, I've got this cash now, I know what I need to do. And so for me, it's not go all in approach. It's literally I work with their pace. I work at their pace. Once I reconfirm the understanding, then and only I move on to the next step. The second thing I will share, this is Sandra, you touched base on this about, the money lasting because of our life expectancy. And then Fiona, you mentioned about pensions and all that. It's quite interesting because my approach to financial planning is whole of life cycle planning. So I've got clients from all phases of life. I've had some clients for over 10 years, 12 years now. And what I'm starting to notice is this aging population that's coming in. We were talking about this baby boomer generation retiring. Guess what? It has begun. So I've just literally completed my aged care accreditation. The reason why I did that is I had a lot of my female clients reaching out saying, Manisha, I need help. I don't know what to do. Now, to put this in perspective, for you to actually go into an aged care facility and all that, at the moment, we are talking about almost $650,000 upfront, plus daily care fees and all that. Our cells are not regenerating at that same level. Our health is deteriorating. This is coming. It is going to happen. In fact, it's so critical and important now, especially for females who are living longer, to start having planning for this future, which is imminent. We have time up our sleeves. So now is the time to put some action plan in place so that we're mitigating that risk as best as possible.
We want to plan, ladies, to live and certainly not to die, because there was think we'll just use the money up and we'll spend it, and then we'll just go on the age pension. It's about, I don't know the exact amount, about 26,000 for a single person. And it's a bit of a subsidy towards rent if you are renting, but certainly if you can get rental. So it's such a risk to be able to be relying. It could be something that could be buffering and adding to your self-funded superannuation payments. So it's so important that we stand up and we go, what do I need? And really take ownership of this. When we bury our heads in the sand and we deny, even having to know it'll be sorted out and someone else will look after me, and this is not something I even want to think about, is the worst thing we can do at this point.
Sandra and I really help ladies to build their confidence and for them to value himself and put himself first and to know that's not selfish. And ladies, this is what we really want to encourage you to do. Not only in your emotional part of your life, but also in your financial part. And once you've got your money and you've got it, we want you to protect it and bed it down and make it safe. Because if you're going to get out there and date again, we never want you to be in a situation that you lose your money. Between Manisha and us, we give you lots of advice on securing your finances as well to protect yourself and give you that longevity.
From scammers, dating scammers and their organization. They're not actually even in some cases real men. And even people getting you to invest in their, latest thing or too good to be true. These are a real high risk. When we go in without really building up that belief and knowledge and self-confidence in ourselves, we listen to other people that give us bad advice.
The other common, one more fear I've come across quite often is the family home. So when we talk about our assets, generally it's your superannuation, and family home is where a lot of people hold their wealth. So if you look at the homelessness rates in Australia, it's pretty much more women who are homeless than men. And this fear of having a roof over your head and securing that for your children becomes a priority generally for women. But sometimes what happens, that can actually be at their detriment, especially when there's a heavy debt attached to that family home, and then the future maintenance costs and the upkeep costs of that family home. So it's a trade-off conversation in terms of, do you keep the family home and be open to downsizing down the future? Because there is a lot of emotions attached to a family home, isn't it? You've got kids grown up, you've made memories in that home. So it's very difficult to let go of that home with the fear of I'm going to lose my security, and especially navigating this journey. So I highly encourage women. I do a lot of financial modeling, Fiona, Sandra, for all my clients. So I work with family lawyers and we give them options to say, if you went for settlement option A, settlement option B, settlement option C, this is what it means in the grand scheme of things. So don't have that fear of retaining the family home at any cost. It could be at your advantage, but equally it could also be at a disadvantage. So be open to those recommendations of what would work best in the best interest down the track.
I think, ladies, it's very easy to get bogged down in fear and to stay like that. You feel like you don't have choices and you feel that it's very overwhelming and you lose your confidence to make financial decisions. What we want to encourage you to do is surround yourself with people, communities, groups that do support you through this journey. And then we're very happy to recommend our clients to Manisha because we know that she looks after them, and we would not recommend anybody who we don't personally know and we don't know how they will treat our clients. These are important times, ladies. You need to look after yourself. So thank you, Manisha, for being amazing and helping our ladies.
Yeah, and leave you with a word, ladies, to be discerning. Be discerning, who you're sharing the information with, who you're giving your information to, who you're allowing to, I guess, help make decisions for you as well. Be discerning. And this is your time, and moving forward, it's up to you. But we're certainly here to support you and hold your hand if you need it as well. Thank you, Manisha. And it's wonderful to have you on.
So thank you for spending time with us today. I know conversations like this can sometimes stir up emotion. So if something resonated with you, just take a moment to be gentle with yourself. Life after divorce can often feel isolating, but you don't have to do this alone. So if you would like some extra support or connection or guidance, you can learn more about our coaching programs, our 3-day events, and our community at womenontransition.com. And if this episode was helpful, you're more than welcome to subscribe, share it with another woman who might need it, or leave us a positive review. It all helps to make more women be able to find our space. So until next time, remember, you're not broken. This chapter doesn't have to define you. It's simply part of your becoming. See you next time.